Norah Marley was just 20 years old when she was introduced to a young man who seemed charming and loving. Months later, Norah was gone, leaving behind 3 siblings and a mother who now wants every mother to hear Norah's story and to tell it to their children. That's right now on Maggie and the Moms.
It's time for Maggie and the Moms. Sponsored by Tampa General Hospital.
A beautiful soul with a bright future was taken because she crossed paths with the wrong person who led her into an unimaginable reality, a life of drug abuse, human trafficking, domestic abuse. These are serious topics, hard ones to talk about, but we're so grateful that Amber Marley, that young lady's mother, is here today because she feels it is important to tell her daughter Norah's story. Amber, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We have been commemorating National Child Abuse Prevention Month in this way. For those who listen to my podcast, you know that we cover all sorts of topics, and I know that this one is heavy. But in meeting so many people who have been affected by child abuse and human trafficking, as I have been commemorating this month, I think it is valuable. I think it is crucial to bring you stories like this, and I know that that is your entire mission in life now that Norah is gone. Why is it so important for you to share something so painful?
It's very important for me because I want to do whatever I can to help any other parent out there prevent this from happening to their child, so they don't have to go through the pain, the suffering, the breaking in a family that this causes, you know.
And Norah's story really is one that could happen to anyone. She was just a regular 20-year-old with aspirations, a sweet, you say naive girl who crossed paths with the wrong person.
Mm-hmm. It started out with a friend that she made, a female friend, and this female friend she trusted, of course, a little bit older, a few years, and she introduced Norah to this young man, and then she would go out with my daughter to clubs, and you know, he would be there. They would run into him, and he started love bombing my daughter immediately.
How so?
Just telling her how beautiful she was and how he wanted to be with her. If another male friend that was with her was around, he would get angry and kind of like push him away. So some of her other friends had witnessed this behavior and from him. And they told her, they warned her, they said, this guy is love bombing you. And when she would speak to me about him, she would say, you know, I don't want to date right now, Mom, but he really seems to like me. And I would say, just take your time, you know, don't just jump in.
So what her friends, some of her friends, and you saw as a red flag right away, she saw as, wow, he really likes me. Mm-hmm. He really loves me. And
Yep.
so she got involved with him.
Yep.
And then what happened?
She ended up letting him in after so much of him pushing and pushing, until they started dating. And she would come to my house and speak to me about him a little bit and tell me about his mom and how his mom was always baking things. She'd say, you'd really like his mom, you know, because I love to bake. And she would say, you would really love his mom. She bakes all the time. And, you know, I thought, okay, you know, that's nice. But then things started to change. My daughter started to be more closed off. She started to seem, after a few months, started to seem afraid.
You noticed this?
Mm-hmm. I noticed it. Her sister noticed it. Her stepfather noticed it. People that were close to her, one of her very good friends, that also had told me about the love bombing, noticed. But there were a lot of other things. She started not meeting her, you know, appointments and things like that. So she would set a time and date to get together with me for something, and then she would cancel. She would say she was with the female friend, maybe watching babysitting for her or something.
What was going on in her life? Did you know? When did you figure it out?
I found out that something wasn't right when she overdosed the one time she overdosed before she passed away. I had to pick her up at the mom's house, and she opened the door and looked at me, wouldn't barely open the door, and said, "Oh, you look, you must be Norah's mom. You look just like her." And I looked at her and said, "You mean she looks just like me?" And I kind of pushed my way in to get my daughter. And the woman kind of ran around the corner to her kitchen and was like looking around as if she was trying to make sure that I didn't see something laying out. When my daughter came out of the room, she was very out of it. She was getting sick. The young man was trying to insist in going in the bathroom with her. And I just wanted to get her and get out of there. There was several other young males of different ethnicities around the same age group all staying there as well. The mom said something to them.
And this was with that adult, that mother there?
Yes. She said something to the nature of, "Excuse the mess, I have 8 people living here." And I thought, that doesn't seem normal. And so I hurried up and I got my daughter out of there. Before I left, though, I had said to the young man that, whatever your past is, whatever has happened, whatever mistakes you've made, you can change that. You can go forward, and I know it's going to seem hard, but keep going towards the light. Keep going towards the good. Things will change for you, but you have to try. He almost teared up for a second there, and I thought, maybe something I said got through to him. But I didn't really quite know how deep all of this went. I just kind of, I said, this isn't a good situation. And I talked to her about that. And she kind of tried to,
Did she tell you that she had used drugs? Did she realize?
She told me that what she believed she had taken was a Xanax. And she asked me, did the hospital tell me what she had taken, what it was that caused her to overdose? And they didn't tell me. And she said, did they say anything? She even gave me the paperwork, and it showed none of this information. And I said, no. What did you take? And that's when she told me, but she was questioning it. She was kind of like, I don't know. She had this sense of, I could tell she didn't know anymore. Now she was unsure about what was happening. I found out as well later on that they were allowing her to use the vehicle, and while she would be on whatever these drugs were, and if she got into any kind of, banged up the vehicle or something, they were pressuring her to do OnlyFans to repay them.
Oh my goodness.
So I think a lot of what people will oftentimes just think, oh, it's just this person's just now a drug addict. And the reality is different. It's their...
It starts with drugs.
Right.
But then in Norah's case and for many others, it led to many other things.
Right.
You believe it was fentanyl.
Yes.
And you said that the mother liked to bake. And that was an important detail that you said right off the top. Why?
Yeah. Because I believe that many of these perpetrators will hide these illicit drugs, fentanyl, xylazine, anything that they can, in food items and beverages. They will put it on items the person's going to touch, just because if you just get a little bit in the system, it can cause addiction without the person even knowing. And more than just everyone's afraid of just getting enough to just die right away. Well, this is a little different. This is much worse. This is keep giving enough to keep you addicted and alive, but not knowing what's going on.
Creating an addiction, which is something that you have come to learn is very much part of the MO for people like this, which shockingly is not only that young man that she met, but you believe his mother as well. Create this addiction in your daughter, make her dependent on them. That's another symptom.
Correct.
Another thing to look out for. How did they do that? How did they make her dependent on them?
So she ended up, I think, quitting or losing the job that she was working with the one friend, and that friend happened to leave and go to another job. But then all of her personal identification documents would start disappearing. So she would call me and say, "Mom, do you have my birth certificate?" And I'd say, "No, I gave it to you. What do you need it for?" "Well, I lost my ID." "Okay, well, didn't you just get an ID?" "Yes, I did, but I need to get another one. I've lost this one Okay, so I'd help her, figure out what she needed to do. Then it would be her social security card. It was constantly
These were all disappearing.
several times. So then she wouldn't be able to get a job. So she'd be struggling to pay her bills because she couldn't find a job to work. Again, pushing her to do OnlyFans. All of the locks on her windows around the house were all broken off. After she passed, her younger sister and two of her cousins had gone over to her house to look through her things, and they found that she had a laptop up there, and they didn't think anything of it. Well, when we went back to her house to start gathering her things, the laptop disappeared out of the house. It was just gone.
And so you have a 20-year-old who is living a great life, is introduced to this person who introduces her to drugs.
Yeah.
She becomes addicted. They make her dependent on them, the abusers. She is now on OnlyFans because she has no other recourse, and they're forcing her to do it.
Yep.
And that's what ultimately leads her down the path that led to her death. And we're going to pick up that part of the story right after this quick break. Amber Marley is here talking about her daughter's story. She was a victim of abuse in disguise because the young man that she met didn't seem like what he turned out to be. Someone who would lead her into a life of drugs, who would force her into doing OnlyFans, who would make her dependent on him. The last time, I'm sorry to ask you about this, but you said that you wanted to tell us about the last time that you spoke with your daughter.
The last time that I spoke with my daughter was the day after Christmas. She had come over with the rest of the family for Christmas. We did what we would normally do. We played a bunch of fun games, and everybody exchanged gifts. We ate. The next day, I was supposed to come over to her house to help her out with fixing a few things. So I went over there to fix the washer, which I had already gone over and fixed like 3 times prior. And I find out that the dishwasher is also broken now. And I said, why didn't you tell me? Like, you have to tell me when something's broken so I can come right away and take care of it. And I started to get upset and raise my voice a little bit with her. And then she started to cry. And so I stopped and I said, I don't want to make her cry about this. So I said, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to come down on you, but it's really important that if something is broken, an appliance, anything, that you let me know so I can help you out. And so she said, I understand, Mama. And I hugged her. And I said, I'm sorry, for making you cry. I wasn't trying to make you upset. But I hugged her, and she felt relieved. And I fixed the dishwasher and the washing machine. And I went to leave, and I gave her another hug before I left. And I didn't think it was going to be the last one. But after I realized that day, she seemed a little bit off that day too. And it turned out that she ended up going to the young man's mother's house sometime later on in that week. He was already in the county, so she was going over there, I guess, to see the mom. And I ended up getting a knock at my door at 11 something at night. And a young officer asked me if I was Amber Marley, and I said yes. He said, is your daughter Norah Marley? And I said yes. My heart dropped, and he told me, you might want to sit down for this. So I did, and he told me that they had found her, and I asked them where, and they told me, and it was at the young man's house. I said, then they killed her. They killed my daughter.
It was an overdose.
They said it was an overdose. the young man was getting ready to go on trial for attempting to run someone over with his vehicle with my daughter in the car just before this happened. And so one of my beliefs is that these people it was ultimately going to end this way some way or another.
Yeah.
But this just sped up the process because they didn't, I mean, they wouldn't want her to testify against him, you know?
I know that that investigation you mentioned to me is not closed. But this does not, I know that creates some sort of hope for you.
It does.
But you're stuck with the pain forever of having lost your daughter the way that you did. In sharing her story, though, you are finding healing because it is your hope and belief that you will help other parents. If there was a takeaway that you wanted all parents to have from your story, from Norah's story, what would that be?
I would want every parent to know that if they find that their child is all of a sudden different, seems afraid, is having bruises showing up on them, disappearing and at different times, not being open anymore like they once were with you. If they seem out of it, that they should just know that their child is still in there. They're the same person and they still love you, they still need you. Don't think they're ever too far gone to save them. Just keep going after them with love. Keep staying right there in their presence as often as possible. If they're hard to get a hold of, you just keep pounding them until you get a hold of them. Never give up. Because my daughter, I remember her saying that to me at one point. Mom, I'm still the same me. I'm still me. It's still Norah in here. And she was right. And every parent should know that if they see their child going through these things, that there's a possibility that there's someone perpetrating this abuse on them. But if they get too busy with work or other things in life, it'll be harder to acknowledge, harder to see. So just pay attention and be there for them.
Thank you so much for that. I know that you have since partnered with other organizations that are doing the work that you're doing, and I'd like to talk about some of them. There's one that's especially poignant. It's the Empty Chair campaign.
Yes.
When we see an empty chair on a lawn, especially if it's purple, what does that mean?
It means that we're not just going to give up on our loved ones dying this way, and we're not just going to ignore it. We're going to do everything we can to recognize that there's still a spot for them at the table. There's still a spot for them in our lives. And no amount of poisoning or abuse is going to take that away. We're going to stand up and we're going to fight back against this evil.
And so empty chairs are literally placed in random places to symbolize that?
Yep. Symbolize the people that have gone, that they're still here. They're still in all of us that are fighting for them. So we're not going to forget them. We're not going to forget their faces, their names, the lives that they lived, the lives that they impacted. We're not going to take that chair out of place because they deserve to be able to be sitting there. And since we're the ones who are still here, we have to keep going for them.
Amen. I want to talk about ways that we can help in this cause, and we'll do that right after this quick break. You do not look like a raccoon. This is Amber Marley, who has just so kindly and bravely shared her story that has brought you to tears, that has brought me close to tears, and has made me think, why is this empty chair between us where I can't reach you and grab your hand? But I guess it's kind of symbolic, right?
Yes.
That we do have an empty chair between us, because as we were talking about before the break, the Empty Chair campaign is one way in which these lives, like Norah's, are being remembered. Empty chairs are placed in different spots throughout the country to bring attention to this issue. Besides that, which I think is very important. Is there something that the rest of us can do? Because we hear this story and you have inspired all of us to, yes, go and talk to our children, go and tell them this story. But in addition to that, is there anything that we can do?
I think that, thank you. I think that the more that we open our eyes to what's going on around us, and we're aware of our surroundings, aware of others that we're interacting with. You go to a restaurant or, a grocery store. You don't know who could be involved in a situation like this that they don't even know that they're being slowly pulled into.
Yes.
There are several things that I know with research that people can look and find out themselves, but there are many different strategies and tactics that they use for trafficking people. This particular situation my daughter got involved in was considered what some would say the lover boy tactic. There are things also that you can look out for. Traffickers often like to mark the people that they're trafficking as symbolic of their property now. At some point, my daughter had said she had got some tattoo of a moth or something on her arm, and I asked her where she got it, and she said some gentleman that she had met had paid for it. And I thought that was a little strange, but these are kinds of things that you might not notice, but if you pay attention, you can see by someone's fear in their behavior if they're losing weight, not able to eat frequently, sleeping at odd times, not showing up to their commitments, responsibilities that they would have normally had no problem keeping.
Yeah.
That starts to go away.
And you believe that Norah was trafficked because there were periods that she just doesn't remember.
Yes, and there were periods where she told me that she was with the friend in Orlando, but then one of her cousins had said that she told them that she was going to be in Miami. Then upon questioning the friend said, yeah, she's with me, and was posting pictures of herself, but no pictures of Orlando or Universal Studios where they were supposedly at, no pictures of my daughter anywhere to be found.
And so that speaks to how trafficking doesn't look like what you always hear, like the kid who's snatched and taken to this life.
Correct.
Right? This was somebody who was groomed
Yep.
by somebody who was her boyfriend.
Correct.
Who she trusted.
Yep.
I think that's such an important takeaway.
It is.
Because anybody could be fooled.
Yep. It's easy enough when you're young, naive, you're new to the world, you are loving of others, you're caring, you want to help people. So oftentimes those are the people who become the easy victims, that they can do it right in front of their family's faces, in front of their friends' faces. And even though the friends and family may say, oh, I know something's off.
You never imagine that.
You would never imagine that it's that deep, that it's that awful,
We only have about a minute left, but I want to make sure, because I want to make it a point to tell you how appreciated you are by all of our listeners, by me. Thank you for the work that you do. How are you healing through all of this?
I am healing well. I'm healing well. I have a peace knowing that she's with the Lord, knowing that she's no longer in the hands of these people. And God is getting me through. Jesus is good. I wouldn't have been able to make it this far without him. So him and all of the supportive people along the way, my family, my friends, all of you. So it's helped me immensely.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Amber. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening and watching. We'll see you next time on Maggie and the Moms.